Welcome to the Love Rekindled Show, where real stories, heartfelt advice, and expert guidance come together to help you create richer, more meaningful relationships. Meet your certified relationship coaches, Margo and Antonio Taylor. Through transformative coaching, informative workshops, and special events, the Love Rekindled community empowers families and couples to grow closer, communicate openly, and embrace the power of love. This is the Love Rekindled Show. Let's begin.
Every couple argues, but it's how we argue that determines the strength of our relationship. Are we listening to understand or listening to defend? And what happens when your way of giving love isn't the same as your partner's way of receiving it? One is craving physical touch and the other wants words of affirmation. Tonight, we're diving deep into communication, how to fight fair, speak each other's language, and stop hurting each other with our words. I don't know about you, but Tonio, this is going to be a good conversation.
Oh, this going to be really good.
This is going to be a good conversation. And so I thought that, we definitely should define what fighting fair really means, because oftentimes we don't ever break it down. As always, especially you and I in the space that we're in, when we hear about the conflicts that are happening, we don't have time to really get in front of it to help them explain and learn the things that they need to fight fair. So I want to ask you, what do you think fighting fair is? Because I think that's the baseline.
Well, I think, if I'm quite honest, I think a lot of time when people hear fighting, they think it's like a drag out.
Right.
But fighting, and you guys have heard me say this a lot. I think men and women wake up differently.
That's true.
Us disagreeing is inevitable. It's going to happen. So what I think we have to do to fight fair is I have to listen to you to understand.
Yes.
I found when I finally, and it took me a couple years to get there.
Absolutely.
But when I got to that point where I can just hear you and I'm listening to you to really just to understand.
Right.
And now I understand we're not going to always agree.
Absolutely.
My thing now is the biggest part of fighting fair is to understand you.
I think
so that's what
amazing.
I think the biggest part of it is.
Okay, great. And you know what? For me, fighting fair is getting away from, shifting from winning the argument to protecting the relationship, if that makes sense, right? Because the thing is that, there's going to be conflict. Mm-hmm. In any relationship, it's just how you deal with it that determines, the outcome of it, or if you can withstand it and still love on each other. So tonight, we're just going to really dive in because, we understand that conflict is inevitable in every relationship, every marriage. So let's talk about how to do it. So Antonio and I are going to spend some time with you guys and share some things that we dealt with, but also drop some jewels with sharing what you can do, what tools you can implement in your relationship, to help the communication flow better.
Yeah, I can say this, if I'm totally transparent, having disagreement is a big part of our relationship.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure it's a big part of you guys' relationship. Me and Margo, we had an argument this week, guys. I'm going to be transparent with you, but what I'm loving now, it don't last long.
Right.
She able to tell me how she feel, no matter how wrong she is. She able to tell me how she feel, and I'm able to tell her how I feel. And we just find a even ground. So I think that's the best way. That's what's worked for us.
Right. But I think the most important things with couples in relationships need to understand, you need to get to learn and know your partner.
That's the work.
I think a lot of times we, get in relation, we're in love, we skip a lot of the things and we really don't dive deep into who our person is, what really makes them tick. And not only that, what's their previous trauma? What have you been through? What have you gone through?
Definitely.
We don't take that into account. And so when we're able to do that in relationships, it positions us where we can then not be on the defense every time something comes up.
Yeah, because what I can tell you, a lot of my issues came from my childhood trauma with
Absolutely.
you. And I appreciate your patience, and you got to a place where you gave me grace.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I definitely appreciate that. And I would tell anybody, if you're dealing with something, spin the block and go back. Go back to your childhood. If you're dealing with anything, the answers is in your childhood. Mm-hmm. And when you can get away from trying to fix your partner and say, what do I need to fix? Your relationship go to the next level when that happens.
I definitely agree with that.
Because I'm going to say this, guys, and I'm going to talk about y'all. every couple that reach out to us, they reach out to me and Margo, how can we fix their partner? And when they come sit down with us, the fixing be with them.
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing. You have to look inward.
Yes.
You know, when you're dealing with your partner, you're dealing with conflict, you have to look inward. And so the thing is, what I realized and what worked for us is putting boundaries in place, right? There was things that were simply not allowed when we were dealing with conflict. And one of the things that I realized, and I say, you know, this was one of the top priorities for me, was learning to use my words, right? And not weaponize anything that I may feel, not weaponize anything that I have been through that I'm feeling like showing up currently in our situation. Because I think a lot of times we don't fight fair because we go below the belt.
So let me ask you this. What was that process like for you? Because it sound cookie cutter. Hey, I was able to get to. How did that really look, and how did you able to get to that space where you can get there?
Okay, well, let's have the conversation. At first, I was a hot mess. We could just go on and go ahead and get on to it. Yes, I was a hot mess. There was so much that I needed to learn, and I came in with baggage, you know, previous marriage, you know, previous relationship, childhood trauma, childhood issues. What I had to learn is if I made the choice to spend my life with you, right, and say, okay, this is my person, I'm going to be with you for the rest of my life. I had to learn that what I realized is I didn't want to damage you in our relationship. And I knew that it was some things that I bought, that I came with, that you had to work through with me, but I didn't want to damage and hurt you further. So for me, I understood that it was important that I make changes, that I not speak to you disrespectfully, that I not scream and yell or ever call you out of your name. It was things that I had to learn because my upbringing and fighting for myself with no protection, I had built those boundaries for myself.
Right.
So it was tough. It was hard. It was therapy. It was, my husband having to really, really sit with me and talk to me about how I'm hurting you.
Right. And what I can say is, and not so much it was totally you. God knows I came with my struggles, and to the point I was making, I think when we both decided to look in the mirror, because I'll never forget the conversation when you told me, you like, I have nothing else left to give you. And I was like, man, like that was a first, because when you arguing back and forth, you get used to doing that.
Right.
But when somebody can look at you and say, hey, I'm off the boat. I have nothing else to give
Tonio,
back.
I'm glad you brought that up. And I think at that point, that's when I started turning the corner.
Yeah.
And I was saying to myself, you know what, Margo, you got to do something different.
Yeah.
You can't keep jumping in the conversation. And you're right. When you get stuck in that cycle, the arguments are the same.
Correct.
The conversation goes exactly the same.
Correct.
It's almost like you could be like, okay, well, I know what you're going to say next. Because you do this repeatedly every time. So when I got to that point and I was like, Tonio, listen, I don't have nothing else to give. Not that I was giving up on you or our marriage. I just understood that I needed to do something different.
So funny enough, at that moment, it did feel like you was giving up. But funny enough, that was the thing that I needed, because it made me look inward. Because you couldn't convince me that you weren't the problem. You couldn't convince me that ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm showing up as the best husband ever. I do this, I do that, I do this. And I ain't want to hear nothing you say I wasn't doing. So when I got to that point where I can just look in the mirror and say, you know what, she is right. I did do that.
Yes.
And it was hard to start admitting that, but I had to say, you know what? You're right. So now, if you bring something to me today, man, look, you're right. I apologize. You didn't deserve that. How can we move forward?
Because the truth of the matter is this. What are we fighting for? What is it all about? If we're on the same team and we're here to do life together, we're here to raise our children together, we're here to, do business together, our businesses, and have a life together, why are we at such odds with each other? We shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. So do what I can tell you guys. Your happiness start when you stop blaming the other person.
Correct.
That's one thing I can really, really, truly tell you.
Correct.
It's nothing that Margo can do that I'm just going to blame her when it's something that me and her dealing with.
Right.
It's the issue. We're going to sit down and we're going to deal with the issue. And you hear people say it, but when you start practicing, I promise you, your relationship will go to another level.
You know what funny thing? Antonio and I, we always, from time to time, we'll recap and talk about, things that we've been through. But
mainly you be gossiping. I listen, guys.
I listen. Okay. All right. We'll call it what he want to call it. But when I think back on how we started, who we were, coming into this marriage, Tonio, for real, babe, we was a hot mess. And to the point, sometimes we look back and be like, man, we don't even know how we made it for real. You know, with Tonio dealing with his childhood trauma, you know, the loss of his father. I lost my mom when I was 10 years old, my childhood trauma, my issues, you know, teen mom, you know, pregnant at 16, homeless growing up. You know, life wasn't easy. So when you take two people that has dealt with life the hard way early on in the early childhood years and put them together.
Yeah,
I
can say, and it's funny, like you hear, and I agree with you. I don't know how. Well, I know how we sitting here,
but
that's a whole nother show. How we sitting here, but I can definitely say, like, just looking back, had we not seek some form of therapy, I know without a doubt we wouldn't be here. Because what I can say through therapy, the biggest thing that we learned, and I think we got to discuss that, was the healthy communication styles.
That's true.
Because what I learned through therapy, our communication style was different.
It was.
Like the way I get my stuff, my point across to you, it looked a whole lot different from you. So what I realized, the most important thing with communication, I've said it 3 times, I said it 4th time, with me listening. And I realized I didn't listen. I just wasn't the person that listened.
Well, you know what? And I'm glad to your point that you can own it. And I think that's the other thing. It's like you got to own your flaws. Listen, let me tell y'all something, guys. We all know what we struggle with, okay? Listen, you didn't heard this complaint from the last boyfriend, one before that, let me and the current. You know this is something you need to work on.
I have to say this, and they do know it, but I do think it takes a level of maturity to realize it.
Well, guess what? I can be transparent. So, to my point, when me and Antonio was early on in the marriage, like year 1, right?
I'm finna get
I remember
now.
It was a mess. Like we was dangerously in love, but we had no good communication. We didn't know how to get through no arguments or nothing without tearing each other clothes off. That's one true. Got a black bruise eye, my little lock was on the floor.
No, baby, you can't literally say black bruise eye. You can't say that.
Not black bruise eye, but y'all know what I mean. We was good and hood, okay? But what happened was, I remember one time, Tonio was talking to me, and I used to be quick to tell him how he was a manipulator. Oh, that was my go-to, right? So I was like, oh, you a manipulator, and you know, and you bringing all your baggage into our marriage.
With the same tone as the way she's rolling her eyes, guys. That's the same way she did it.
Listen, but one thing, I was honest, I was a mess. I told him this 15 minutes ago. But anyway, Tonio told me I needed to go to therapy, and I remember putting my hands on my hips. I said, me? I don't need to go to therapy. I ain't got no baggage. You the one need to go to therapy.
Yeah. And guys, I'm gonna take it a step further.
Let me tell y'all what he did.
I'm gonna be real transparent. It didn't stop there. She even told me that I was lazy. And anybody know me, so I knew we needed therapy. When she started using words like Antonio and lazy in the same sentence, we definitely going to therapy.
Okay, because at that point, this is why we having this conversation, guys. Listen, one thing about the Taylors, honey, we ain't going to tell y'all to do nothing we don't do, okay?
That's true.
But this was the thing. I really, in that moment, felt validated, right? In telling you all the wrong things I was saying, all the crazy things. And the one thing about it, the things that I was saying was hurtful.
Yeah.
But again, hurt people, right? And sometimes we get in relationships loving each other and in love and don't even realize how damaged and hurt we may be. And when you get in relationships, you pour that onto the person that you're with.
You're right. And guys, in all seriousness, what we did when we went to therapy, we really had to develop a healthy communication because we wouldn't be here. I wasn't the guy that would stand for disrespect, and Margo wasn't the lady that would stand for me being disrespectful to her. So we had to find some healthy ways to communicate, and it really saved our marriage.
Let me tell y'all something. When I put my hands on my hips and told my husband that I was not going to therapy because he had the baggage and not me, that joker picked his phone up, okay, and Googled a therapist and called in front of my face and was like, I need to make an appointment.
And guys, this is all a true story. She's still leaving out the part. She said I was lazy. That's why I really made the call, because I was like, she's really delusional. She said I'm lazy.
I was trying to get under that skin, you know. I was trying not to fight fair, and it was wrong.
To the point.
The point, it was wrong. And the truth of the matter is, guys, we do this often. Some people do it often in their marriages with not just seeing the damage and what you're pouring and putting into your marriage when you don't do the work and you don't get completely healed.
So this is what I'll say. I don't know what's the main kicker for women, but I can tell any woman that a man, respect is way bigger than love. A man needs respect. If a man is not receiving the respect that he feel he's deserved, you're going to have a lot of problems in your marriage with that man. I can guarantee you that. I can be transparent and tell you that.
I agree. And for women, I guess, like, just because I'm trying to take myself back, for me, it was just really wanted to feel safe and secure. And not to the point that it had anything to do with you, because you've always provided that space for me. But when you have gone through so much in life and you have dealt with the trauma, you've dealt with the people acting as if they love you and care for you, but mishandling you, mistreating you, it puts you in a place where you live your life always on guard, always want to fight.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, and to that point, I can admit early on in our marriage, and I'm sure people that's early in the marriage, it's hurtful things I said. Like, hey, you can leave. It's things that I said.
Oh, yeah, y'all. He told me to get out. Listen, my little heart was broke in a million pieces.
Well, just like her, I meant it at that time when I said it with so much conviction too. No, I really didn't mean it. That was just my way of just trying to retaliate.
No, but you know what? Today,
and it was wrong.
Today, 11 years later, looking back, it's funny. And I'm glad we can have this conversation and talk about it because, today we're so much better and stronger for it because we went through those things. And ultimately, I think it took us really getting to that space with saying, you know what, I love you and I don't want to hurt you. I didn't come here to tear you down. I didn't come here to make you feel less than. I came here to build you up. I came here so we can grow in life together.
Yeah, we really have came a long way because I know like the one thing for me, me and Margo will get into an argument and Margo will go to the next room. And for me, and she wouldn't stay the whole night, guys, but she'll separate from me. And for me, it felt like punishment. But for her, it was her protection. So like through healthy communication, she understood, hey, you can't leave. And I understood there's certain things I can't do to make her want to leave. Right. So it was a give and take situation.
So to your point, because that's the part of the relationship that's the hardest, the communication styles, right? But one thing I will tell y'all, when you're in a situation and you're wanting to fight fair, my thing is what helped us, especially when we started going to therapy, was to put boundaries in place, right? So there were certain things we just could not say, right? Divorce was one of them. That was a word that we could not say. Correct. Name calling, we could not say. Yep. Bringing up anything that we had previously confided in each other about, I don't care what it was, you're never to bring that on the table.
Yeah. And I can say as we start growing, and I'll fast forward a little bit because I know we have an audience that do business together, and I can tell them with us, one thing that we did as we started doing business together, we was very intentional on separating business and personal. Yes. So one thing we never did, we never talked business in our bedroom. Correct. So we'll go in our home office, and that's where all the business was. Yes. And I had to remind my wife in business, you're not my wife, you're my business partner. And she had to remind me, so you don't get no wife credit in business. Like we're gonna handle the business. And for us, that made everything. When we did have a long day business, we still can hang out and have a good time as husband and his wife. Correct. And a lot of people can't do it because you have a long day business. Y'all not even talking to each other when y'all get to the bed at night, and it has nothing to do with the marriage.
Yeah, and to your point, a lot of times couples are afraid to work together like that because you're living with that person and you're working with them, and the dynamics can get conscrewed. So the thing is, you have to have boundaries. And I know, like for me, the big thing that was an indicator once we really started working together, because for so many years Antonio and I had our own separate businesses, right? So we ran our separate businesses. We'll check in with each other and give each other advice with stuff, but for the most part he made his decisions and I made my own. So bridging it together, both being very he's an alpha male, I'm an alpha female in the business space. Now, honey, outside the business space, honey, I'm soft life, a wife, and I'm with my husband and kids. However, what we had to learn is when we sit at the table and we're talking business, we had to kind of, because he wasn't used to, the Margo who handles business, dealing with him with business.
So I'm going to say it, Margo going to give y'all the quick cut. I'm going to say it. Like, I felt like when we was business, hey, I'm still your husband. Don't raise your voice at me when we're talking business. But the reality of it is, this is my business partner. You can't raise your voice. We actually having a business conversation.
Correct. And we're going to go back and forth.
And I can admit this. I tried to position her to be my business partner while I still be the husband. And it wasn't fair. So it has to be fair all the way around.
Yeah, all the way around.
And we were able to
we definitely were able to do it. And I think actually with us working together in business and really having those boundaries in place, it has really helped us grow. It has really helped our marriage grow. And our business, we know where our strengths and weaknesses are. That's another thing, guys.
Yeah. Going there with strengths and weakness. That's my next point. This is what I will tell you.
Even in conversation with fighting fair, there are strengths and weaknesses. You have a spouse who's better at communication. You have a spouse that shuts down when certain things happen. You have to make sure that you study and understand what's happening when those disagreements happen to communicate well.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this, and this is very, very important. Don't make your strength the reason you find a way to resent your partner. Meaning, if you're the better communicator, you cannot get so frustrated that they are not a strong communicator like you. It's actually the blessing of the relationship.
Correct.
So come out of your ego, and just allow them to lean on your strength. Because a lot of time what happened in relationship, my strength have me resent you because you're not as good at it as I am.
That happens all the time.
And I'm happy we fixed that.
That happens all the time.
It's so asinine for the person who's coming up short.
Right.
It's bad enough that you're so good at it and I suck at it. And the way you treat me is because we're a team.
Right.
So if we're a team and you're a quarterback, you throw better than me and I can run, don't expect me to throw well.
Well, I think the underlying thing, and I think it's a human nature thing, right? We feel like if I'm this type of way, if I'm this way, and somebody does something that violates or hurt my feelings, my thing was, I would never do that to you.
Oh,
right?
Man.
Because that's the thing.
Yeah.
Naturally, it comes naturally with us being human. We associate our love and experiences with what we feel loved and experience, what we feel like that's an experience or love. So the crazy part was like, I had to just really get out of my way and stop saying, okay, I am the better communicator. So this was our Achilles. Antonio was the better initiator for communication than I was, honey, because once I tapped out, I was gone. Man. But I was the better communicator in the conversation where I can convey and relate what I'm trying to say a lot better. Where since Tonio struggled, right? So for me,
so we got to paint the picture. You got somebody running to have a conversation who don't know how to have a conversation.
Correct.
And then run into the person that can communicate. So I'm running her fishing for conversation. She communicate well. I can't remember nothing. I can't say nothing back. So I can understand her frustration.
Right. So that's
we had a lot of crazy stuff.
We had a lot of stuff going on, but we had to pause and say, okay, you know what? So this was the turning point, and I'm going to share this. You have to be able to look and say, you know what? This is my partner. Regardless of whatever happened, we chose each other, and I love you. What is it you need from me? Let me tell y'all something. If you learn to say that in your relationship, what is it that you need from me? And I think at that point when we were able to have that conversation,
it changed things.
Absolutely. And not only that, you were also vulnerable to say, you know what, Margo, I'm struggling with communication.
Yeah. And to your point, I'll drop this nugget since you brought it up. Even today we do this. When me and Margo get to a struggling part of the back and forth, that is the go-to from one of us. At this point, and I challenge you guys to try it. What is it that you need from me? When it gets to a space when I'm constantly, I've told you 5 times how I feel. You told me 5 times how you feel. To get to where you need to go, the statement should be, what is it that you need from me? And just listen with your heart.
Yes.
If you're able to do that, every conversation, it'll look a whole lot different. It'll look a whole lot different.
And the thing is what we talking to y'all about, that's what we currently use in our marriage. That's how we process, because it works. It works. And so what happened is that I got to a place where I had to look and say, you know what, Antonio, I'm responsible for you with your communication. If I'm the stronger partner, when you come to me to communicate and I know that you're struggling, because let's be clear, when you have, and I'm stepping outside of the husband and wife space. Antonio is my friend, my best friend. So we all know how we are about friends. And that's why we talk about why it is important that your partner be your friend, because in situations like this, when you have to step outside your emotions and yourself and give grace. Yeah. So my thing is, if your friend come to you and say, hey, I am struggling in this space, what do? Friend, what you need, right? Yeah. So when my husband come to me and say, Margo, I'm coming to you to have these conversations. And I know whenever I come to you with my conversation and my communication skills, and I don't convey it correctly. I may say things that don't appeal to what I really mean. I have to then say, I get that. So Margo, when Antonio come talk to you, understand he is struggling in this space and sit with it. So what I started doing was when he would say something to me and I'd be like, what you said? Like in my head, before I assumed and made an assumption and treated him like what I thought I heard, I would say, you know what, Antonio, I'm listening. But this is what I'm hearing you say to me. Is this what you're saying to me? Yeah. So that I can understand more of what you were saying. And we learned to do that, and that really helped us, guys.
Yeah, it did, because it forced me to explain myself better.
Right. And it held me accountable not to react on assumption. And so what happened in time, I learned your communication style and learned how to communicate with you better.
Yeah. And that's a good point. And I think just the biggest thing with relationships and communicate is people understanding that we're coming one.
Correct.
I think a lot of time people want to remain an individual, and you have to be real careful, especially with communicating, just want to be an individual, because you're trying to get someone to understand you. So we got to become one, if that makes sense to you.
I totally get that. I totally get that. And so in the point of working through the communication piece, there has to be some type of compromise.
Has to be.
And that's where you have to kind of check your ego at the door.
That's when you become one.
That's when you become one. And say, you know what, how could we tackle this together? How can we fix this together? And the thing is this is what I'll say. Once you can acknowledge where your shortcomings are, they're going to show up, right? Because it takes time to get better with things.
Absolutely.
But when the shortcoming shows up, take ownership of it, acknowledge it, and apologize.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, just to understand that, I think when I realized we was on the same team and we wanted the same thing, I just said, okay, let me just understand her crazy way of getting there.
Right. And you just have to, in the relationship, especially in that place of communication, it's definitely give and take, right? Definitely. It's definitely looking at your person and seeing where they're, struggling at. And so what I realized too is as you venture in marriage, as you, take time, we're going to kind of take a turn a little bit, but as you you put in the time, the months, the years into the marriage or the relationship, you start realizing that I'm not getting the best out of my person. And so we deal with that a lot. We're dealing with our couples, they start realizing, we're doing great, right? Our finances are great.
We get in a routine.
Our company is great. We're taking care of the kids. The family life is great, but there's no real intimate connection there where we, think about each other throughout the day, or where we could just sit and smile and enjoy a glass of wine. That intimacy is not there.
Yeah, I think just to go deeper, I feel relationships are not lasting because people don't realize it is a journey. So when you get with people, when we get together, it's about me and you. Right. We have kids, we have careers, we have friends, we have other interests, and we forget that part of things. We forget why we really did it. Right. And I say this all the time, we're so busy trying to become successful, we forget the person we want to be successful for. So my whole thing is nothing that I'm not going to do that God's not going to be a part of, and you're not going to be number one on the list. Right. Anything I do. Right. And so even with my career, anything that I do, I'm always going to involve you in it. And I think we just at a place now where everything is a la carte.
I agree with you with that. Yeah. And I also think that people don't cultivate and work on and nurture their relationship. They'll take care of the family sector of things. They love the lifestyle being with the person, right? But they don't take that time to really sit and be with the person, if that makes sense. Right. And so that's something that you have to learn to do. And I think a lot of it comes with learning your person love language, learning what makes them go, what works for them.
Yeah, and speaking of love language, I asked you before, hey, have your love language changed? Right. Because it changed. And me and Margo, guys, we check in with each other regular. We have a thing where once a week we checking in, how you doing? Right. We have a big one once a month where we really check in. But things change throughout the years, and it's perfectly okay. Do not be in a relationship where you making somebody feel they have to be who they was 5 years, and definitely don't you feel you have to be who you were 5 years ago. Right. It's no growth.
I just feel like we have to normalize bringing back that intimate space in relationships, not in your family. Y'all can be an amazing family. Y'all take some beautiful photos. But the thing is, what happened when the kids leave? At the end of the day, one thing I can say, in spite of all of the things that we went through, Antonio and I, it was me and him, period. We was the top of the pyramid, honey. The kids and everything was under.
I think they got a saying where they be like, blank kids, blank them kids or something. we took that serious. And,
And not that we didn't love our kids and steer our kids and guide them, but we understood that one day our kids will leave, right? And then what we have left. And so throughout life, make sure that you dig in with your partner. Talk about those communication styles. Assess what happened the last time we had an argument. Were we able to get through it freely? Did we have some hiccups? Because we don't do that enough. So we don't grow the way that we need to grow because we're never assessing.
That's true. And when you're not growing together, you wake up and you're on two opposite sides.
You grow apart. When you don't grow together, you grow apart. So I think this conversation was great. I don't know about you, but I definitely enjoyed it.
I did.
Just understanding the importance of communication in relationships, how to safeguard your relationship. And in closing, I want to say this. In relationships, it's already hard, and we know that. Yeah. But when you're dealing with your partner, you're dealing with those hard conversations, you're dealing with those conflicts, find a way to come from a place of love when you're dealing with your person, right? Don't weaponize things and use it in those times because you would damage your relationship. Yeah. Be tender, be graceful in that space because relationships need safe spaces to grow. And if you don't have a safe space in your relationship where you can hash things out and really love on each other in the hard times and help each other dust things off and get back on their feet, get back to where you guys need to be, man, your relationship is going to be hard. It's going to be hard. So, Antonio, in closing, what is your advice to couples dealing with struggling with fighting fair? The communication styles are just not meshing, but we love each other and we're here to fight. What's your advice?
Man, it's one simple advice that I would give you guys. Truly, 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 truly listen to understand. Any kind of conflict, if you take the time to listen to understand, this is the person that you chose. They're not too far away from your morals and your compass and things you have going on. They just see it a little different. And if you learn to listen to understand and listen with your heart, your relationship will go to the next level. Listen, listen, listen. Close your mouth.
Right.
That is the advice that I would give, especially a struggling couple. Shut up.
Yeah, I agree. What I would like to say is, like to Antonio's point, marriage is a journey.
And
right?
work.
And so what you have to understand is how you start is not how you finish. So you're going to go through all phases of life with this person, good, bad, ugly, fine, fat, old. I mean, we all going to go through it. But at the end of the day, the thing is, what do you do on your journey? And what do you learn on your journey? And do you take time to learn your person? Do you take time to see their growth? Do you sit down and take the time to connect? And it's so important. Guys, listen, there's a positive way to do it, right? Your relationship, your marriage does not have to stay on the brinks, right? Take control. Like Antonio and I shared with you guys, we went to therapy. We still go when we need to because at the end of the day, our marriage, we treat it like a car. We take very good care of it, honey. 93 gas, okay? Because we want to make sure we're in for the journey. So we enjoyed this conversation, Antonio. I enjoyed recapping, going back in the days when I was
a hot mess you was.
But guess what? The good part about it is you guys get the opportunity to see my transformation and who I have grown to be today.
Before you go really, really quick, I do want to say, I am so proud of you and your growth, for real.
Thank you.
I could not ask for a better person with growth.
Thank
you still got growth to do.
Right, we all do.
No, serious. I really appreciate your growth, seriously.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate yours too. I mean, we're not perfect, but we're perfect for each other, guys. And at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. So I hope you guys enjoyed this show. And thank you so much for joining us for this powerful episode of the Love Rekindled Show. We hope you were inspired, encouraged, and reminded that real love takes real work, okay? And it's always worth it. A special thank you to our sponsor, Platinum Luxury Fleet, your premier black car and luxury transportation service. Whether it's a date night, corporate event, or a red carpet arrival, Platinum Luxury Fleet gets you there in style and comfort, okay? So visit PlatinumLuxuryFleet.com to book your next experience. Until next time, guys, keep loving, keep growing, and remember, healing starts at home, and the Love Rekindle is here to walk with you every step of the way. See you guys next time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining.